This is the Ashish and Ryan sports and political podcast coming to you live from Hilliard, Ohio. Welcome back, everybody. Segment number 2 of the podcast. We are back. So, I teased, or I stated that coming up next was the discussion about Kawhi Leonard and him wanting to go to LA. So let's understand this. San Antonio, and I talked about this earlier, San Antonio, like New England, is a franchise that is non-marketable, that doesn't want you to transcend the franchise. Even someone like a Rob Gronkowski, let's understand, he's a hard worker. He balls, quote unquote. And secondly, he is not the guy that transcends the system. Brady is. And what is Brady? Brady is the character who, by all accounts, followed the Belichick method. Right? Great teammate, nice guy, quiet, didn't say things to the media, didn't party, was a fanatic football person, always did the proper thing to keep himself in condition, didn't go out to party, always watching tape even in the summer. So again, the face of New England is not Rob Gronkowski. The face of New England is Brady, who follows the Belichick method. So that's why that was able to maintain for so long. The issue with the San Antonio Spurs, and I've stated this earlier, and this is what's going to happen with the New England Patriots, is that they, once Brady leaves, are going to be spearheaded by guys that don't buy into the system. The star is going to be Gronk, presumably, who transcends the system in a way that you don't want, in the sense, hey, I'm the guy that parties a lot, you can recognize me, I'm a social person, that's who I am. However, so that's going to be the issue with New England. However, this has already happened with the San Antonio Spurs. Kawhi Leonard, case in point. Kawhi Leonard transcended the system in kind of the opposite way. Hey, I'm quiet. Hey, I'm quiet. I am, I'm not going to play when you tell me I'm going to play. When I feel right, I'm going to buy into my system. It's going to be my guys. It's going to be my uncle representing me. That's how it's going to roll. So he wants to go to LA. What do I think about this? Great. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, let's understand this, alright? The NBA, what we are upset about is not that Okay, it's not that the NBA is non-competitive. We shouldn't be upset about that. That's ridiculous. Because the NBA was at its greatest, was at its highest point during the lack of parity years. The NBA, during the lack of parity years, when Kobe and Shaq got onto the scene, when MJ took his Bulls to 6 finals and won all 6, that's when the ratings were the highest. They've been the highest ever since LeBron has been a dominant force in the NBA. The parity of the league, it was a 2-team league for 10 years. LA, Boston, LA, Detroit. Detroit later on, but mostly LA and Boston. That's who the league revolves around. Okay, it's not about, look, it's not about lack of parity that makes people ticked off about the NBA. It can't be. That doesn't make sense. Because that's when parity has existed at its highest, that's when people have tuned in the most. So what makes people mad? It's the lack of competition. It's not that you're gonna win. No one cares. It's not that Golden State's gonna win every year. It's that Golden State wins by a wide margin. Okay, so let's understand this. So Kawhi leaves San Antonio. A team that could barely get out of the first round. Don't give me that crap about how they got to the Western Conference Finals. James Harden choked. They shouldn't have even gotten to the semifinals that year. Okay, so you're talking about a team that wouldn't be able to compete with the Warriors and the Spurs, losing their best player. The Cavs weren't able to compete with the Warriors. And LeBron had a historic finals performance. This, my friends, does not ruin the competitiveness of the league. This enhances it. Imagine this. There's a decent chance Paul George stays in Oklahoma City. Let's assume he stays. You've got a big three Oklahoma City team. You've got a big three Lakers, a big two Lakers, with either Ingram or Kuzma. You've got a big three Warriors. You've got a really good big two in the Rockets, along with a bunch of shooters that can make up for not having another superstar, and then you have the Golden State team. In the East, you have the two dominant forces, Embiid and Simmons. You've got the Boston Celtics, the Wizards, the Raptors are still sort of relevant, the Knicks with a Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr., They're a decent team. Let's see what Frank Nicolina does. You've got teams, man. You've got teams. Let's assume Paul George goes to the Lakers. You're literally eliminating one team. Who did I talk about? You got the Knicks. You got the Celtics. You got the Sixers. You have the Warriors. You have the Rockets. And all you're doing is taking away one team that really has no shot of winning the NBA title. They really wouldn't have a shot even if the Big Three was kept in place, because Russell Westbrook is a ball-centric, low-percentage, high-volume shooter. Carmelo is washed up, and Paul George can't fit with a bunch of guys. No one can, really. Not even LeBron can. With guys that take a bunch of shots and really don't hit them that well. That, okay, that is the only team that we're taking away from this discussion. So, Kawhi going to LA doesn't make this a two-team league. Even Kawhi and Paul George going to LA doesn't make this a two-team league. This league never will be a two-team league. You can say it was for like 2 years, but long term it never will be. Because guess what? There's always new talent. There's always new collections of talent. And the best thing for the NBA ratings is, with LA getting cap space, with Boston having picks, with Philadelphia having cap space, with New York having young pieces. You want to talk about the NBA's dream? This is why player mobility, trading of assets, free agency works well in the long term, because what you get out of it are a bunch of stars in a bunch of large markets. It'll even its way out. Cleveland was a different deal because of LeBron, and the Warriors because they drafted exceptionally. So it shows you that small market teams can benefit from player mobility, and that large market teams will eventually, get the stars, the brunt of the stars, because they are large market teams. Now, what do the small markets do? It's a monopoly. We have regulation in for monopolies in our economy. We overdo the regulation. The economy plummets. Note the GDP growth under Obama. This is more of a sports analogy. Again, this is a point about sports. This really has nothing to do with politics. But my point is this. Certain controls must be put in place. But what you're doing is ruining the competitiveness of the league if you put controls on free agency. If you put controls on free agency, you are ruining the league. You are ruining the health of the league. And see, the thing is, with all these one and dones, all your stars are going to be young. You're going to find more young stars because the demographic of the league is shifting. Beginning with Kobe and LeBron, to a lesser extent, though he's a Hall of Famer, Kevin Garnett, You've got younger stars. You're going to get younger stars, not because they're better players, although in LeBron's case, obviously, that he's an outlier in that regard, which makes him so great. But also, let's be real about this. If you have a younger league, and the demographics shift from the star becomes a star at 25 to the league is full of 20-year-olds, you're going to find stars at 20. So while the old guys will become superstars, will continue to stay superstars, and go to the large market teams, you've got, because of the one and done rule, a demographic that is shifting, which helps the probability of the franchise that's in the market that no one watches, like Cleveland. I did not watch a single Cleveland Cavaliers game the 4 years LeBron was in Miami. But they found a star in Kyrie Irving. So they were able to get a free agent in LeBron. Golden State is a decently large market team, but people wanted to watch the Lakers. No one wanted to watch the Warriors until Steph Curry got drafted. Until Thompson got drafted. Obviously, these are late bloomers. But again, the idea that superstars in this league are going to bloom earlier and earlier due to the age demographics and how it is shifting, and that players want to go on money grabs so quickly, especially with the genetic athletic freaks and the more skilled players. Players can shoot now. DeAndre Ayton, Shaq that can shoot. Luka Doncic, Dirk that can pull up from 35. That's more athletic. The players are more skilled. And because there's so many younger, more skilled guys coming out in the draft, your probability of getting 1 or 2 or 3 within a 5-year period is not, it's not unheard of. Look at what Philadelphia is doing. Look at what Cleveland did by drafting Kyrie Irving, by drafting Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, they didn't keep Wiggins. But imagine Irving and Wiggins on the same team, 2 20 points per game scorers. And if they had a litany of other picks, what else would they have done? The draft has helped small market teams, and it's also helped them in free agency. Because guys want to play with stars now. And if there are stars on a small market team, look at Golden State. That's my example. No one wants to watch any team outside of the Lakers in California, ideally. But the reason the Warriors became something is because Steph Curry is an absolute star. His shot is marketable. His face is marketable. His celebrations, his antics, that entire team is marketable. And Kevin Durant, someone that had an opportunity to go to Washington, to go to LA, practically anywhere he wanted, chose to go to Golden State. I mean, look at what the draft did for Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant. And you know why Paul George might stay? Because they drafted a star in Russell Westbrook. Player mobility, the one and done rule has helped not only the big market teams, but it's helped the small market teams. So while in the short term, for the first for the first 8 years, it may not work as well. For the next 25, 35 years, and this league will last, believe me, because of its social progressiveness, allowing its players to speak out. So players will want to go to that league, players will gravitate to that league, and because of the lack of health concerns, no one's worried about getting beat across the head by playing basketball. This league's going to stick around for a long time. And these, again, Kawhi Leonard going to LA makes the league more competitive than it was before. It takes out a team that doesn't have a chance already and creates a team that has a legitimate chance. How is that bad for the league? Please explain. Please explain that one to me. The Miami thing, LeBron going to Miami wasn't bad. It increased the competitiveness of the league. You knew in the playoffs that the Cavaliers with LeBron were going to lose. It's not because LeBron did not develop an alpha dog. That's not why. He obviously had it. He made the finals with Detroit. The reason why they lost is because they had inferior talent. Really inferior talent. So what does that do? It eliminates from TV a small market, no good team, ruining the legacy of superstars. And by the way, creating superstar legacies also creates more viewers. Why did people watch Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals more than Game 7 of the 2010 NBA Finals? Because it was LeBron's chance to solidify himself as the second greatest player in the history of basketball. Everyone knew Kobe was great, but there was a ceiling to his greatness. He's already lost. But LeBron was going to do something unprecedented, beating a 73-9 win team on the road in their house, 3-1 comeback, 2 back-to-back 41-point games, triple-doubles, on and on. So many things were in play here. So many things were in play. But the major issue here is that legacies drive ratings, superstars drive ratings, teams drive ratings, controversies drive ratings. So a team that you know wasn't going to be in the finals, with a superstar that everyone wanted to see in the finals, with a controversy that everyone wanted to see in the finals, takes away a negative, adds stuff to it. The Kevin Durant move actually took away from the competitiveness of the league. It did. I'll grant you that. For what I say about player mobility, this is different because it took away the chances of a team that had a legitimate opportunity. Serge Ibaka, prominent role, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, to win an NBA championship, took out a team, made another team better. Much better than everyone else. Anti-competitive. But again, this is going to be remedied quickly because of the draft, because of player mobility for other players, because of large markets that have failed, now have cap space, now have draft picks, and the small markets get a cut of this too, because if they draft well, free agents will want to come there. Oklahoma City. In some respects. Golden State, in some respects. Cleveland is definitely a blatant example of this. So don't get upset if Kawhi wants to go to LA, or even if Paul George wants to go to LA. This isn't a 2-team league, this is a 10-team league. You're just adding a new team, a new controversy, a new market, a large market, superstars, the greatest city in the world, to the story. That's what you're adding here. What's bad about this for the NBA? Oh, the finals is going to be uncompetitive. To say that the Lakers or the Warriors would beat the Boston Celtics or the 76ers with a good Robert Covington, with a good bench in TJ McConnell, and Fultz. To say that the Knicks couldn't make a run with Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr. Who's to say this is a bad thing? Really, who's to say this is a bad thing? You got large markets, you got stars, you got marketable players, and you got social media to use to your advantage. You have cap space. You've created a dynamic where people want to listen to you in the off season. This is a 24/7 league. With the egos, you have to now care about player relationships in the NBA. You have to care about the relationship dynamics with LeBron and Kyrie, with Shaq and Kobe. Not only is this a year-round league with more competitiveness in the long term, this is a reality TV show. Who doesn't want that? The NBA should be happy if Kawhi and LeBron go to LA. Keeping up with the Lakers. Run an HBO series going behind the scenes in LA. What if Lonzo Ball stays? TV contracts with that series would kill. To go behind the Golden State Warriors locker room. To go behind the Houston Rockets locker room. To go behind the Cavs locker room when Kyrie was there. To go behind what we think is a potential Lakers locker room. To look into Russell Westbrook and Paul George's dynamic. Or what was Kyrie Irving and LeBron's dynamic. Or Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook's dynamic. Ratings would kill for that. You can use player mobility and free agency to make it a reality TV show. I am not kidding about this. The NBA has an opportunity to transcend like Hard Knocks, but on an even more personal level. Because it doesn't have to be just one team. It can be every major team. And the thing is, the dysfunction may not exist in the horrible franchises. Obviously, the dysfunction in the sense, you've got people that don't know what they're doing. But the dysfunction in relationships, like you see with Hard Knocks, Not only is that present in multiple teams where you have insane amount of dysfunction, it's more compelling when these teams are great, when these teams have opportunities to win championships. The NBA can create Hard Knocks 2.0, not even about teams detailing player relationships and make a killing. They can transcend the NFL using reality television. And as I've said already, it's going to be a more competitive league, top to bottom, filled with more stars, filled with better basketball. You've got a better on-the-court product. You've transcended sports off the court with reality television. And your television ratings skyrocket because of the brand names, because of the brand apparels, because of the brand players, because of the large market cities. What more do you want? Seize it. Take the opportunity. Be great. Use this to your advantage. Transcend the NFL. The NFL is done in 20 years. Hopefully not, but it's going to be done in 20 years. Liberals hate the NFL. Now conservatives hate the NFL. This league is done. The NBA can step on the forefront of international sports for years to come. And guess what? Free agency, increased salary caps, social media, the draft, the one-year draft rule. My God. You've got everything handed to you on a silver platter. Don't cry about it. Don't cry about it. Don't try to change it. Use it to your advantage. Fans, don't cry about it. You're going to get a monster product for the next 30, 40, possibly even 50 years on the forefront of sports in the world. It's already a global game. The NFL isn't global. Basketball is already global. Think about what you could do. Think about what you're going to experience as a fan. Think about as the league what you can put this. You can transcend sports with this. And this, my friend, is why the NBA shouldn't be scared about Kawhi Leonard. This is the Ashish Narayan Sports and Political Podcast. And we're coming to you live from Hilliard, Ohio. We are very excited to be with you today. And very happy to join you. Coming up next, I'll get into the IG report a little bit. Where do I think LeBron will go after this? And the NBA draft is coming up. I will discuss that. Plus NFL stories. Andrew Luck won't pick up a football. Man, this is a bad situation. Again, this is the Ashish Narayan Sports and Political Podcast, coming to you live from Hilliard, Ohio. We are very happy to be with you. Some old rap, nothing but a G thing instrumental. Glad to be with you. We'll be back for segment number 3. I think the final segment of the day.